Look at that. Questions are coming in even as we speak. I got one of them. Right. Fallen angels. And then we'll do, is Jesus God or is God Jesus, which is one of the questions that came down from the balcony. Where do the fallen angels come from? Now, we're not given a huge amount of detail about this, but if you have a Bible at home, let me suggest why don't you try reading through part of Isaiah chapter 14 and part of Ezekiel chapter 28. Now, there's some dispute about this, about what exactly these chapters are referring to. But if you read those chapters, you'll see at one point they refer to a being who was in the Garden of Eden, who was perfect, and who was in God's presence. But pride entered his heart, and he fell down to earth. You'll read two different descriptions, one in Isaiah 14 and one in Ezekiel 28. And those chapters move between talking about earthly kingdoms and then what appear to be heavenly kingdoms and then back down to earthly kingdoms again. However we understand this, what we understand is God creates things which are good. He also creates things which are capable of making choices. And those choices we make have huge effects on us, on the people around us. Look, let's supposing we have a perfect world. And in this perfect world, I become so proud, I think I'm better than everybody else. Now, who was talking about superpowers? Who wanted to be able to fly as their superpower? Put up your hand, all you flyers. Okay, so this illustration is for you. You're living in a perfect world. You want to fly, but you can't. So you convince yourself you're so proud that you can, and you're so proud you actually believe your own lie. So you put a big S on your chest. You put a red cape around your neck. You buy a pair of red underpants, and you put it on the outside of everything else you're wearing, and you climb to the top of a church like this, and you throw yourself from the spire in order to fly. Now, what happens? Okay. In this sense, it is impossible to break God's law. Whenever you try to break one of God's law, you end up proving the law while breaking yourself in the process. Just like when you climb to the top of this building to break the law of gravity and you throw yourself off having convinced that you can fly, you do not end up breaking the law, you end up proving the law while breaking yourself in the process. Are you with me? The world that God created is a world in which God's law cannot be broken. If you try to break God's law, you'll end up proving his law while breaking yourself in the process. And for the angels who turned against God and for humans who turn against God, we end up proving who he is, what he is like, and breaking ourselves. And that is what we understand by the fallenness we see around. Whenever we break God's law, we see what goes wrong. Look, has anyone ever lied to you, cheated to you? Have you ever been stabbed in the back by a friend? Did it hurt? When you break God's law, people get hurt and there are consequences, and we live with those consequences.